Well, new tonight, it was about 6 weeks ago that I was introduced to the story of a man named John Benya. He wasn't a native of the tri-states, but you wouldn't know it judging by the mark he left here. In fact, you're probably familiar with his work. You just have to know where to look.
Well, he was interesting, to say the least.
Very difficult not to like John. He was just a very friendly, open guy.
He was just a gentleman. He really was.
One after another, you'll see Quincy streets bearing the signature of John Benya, a man who first arrived in Quincy when architect Charles Behrensmeyer needed help keeping up with the demand for new homes and schools during the post-World War II baby boom.
There were not a lot of personnel in Quincy just walking around on the street that you could hire to do this technical work, so he had to go to St. Louis, and he hired some contract draftsmen, and one of them was John Benya.
Once in Quincy, Benya left quite a footprint. It's hard not to pass a building he designed when you drive through town. He designed what is now Quincy Notre Dame, the old Motorola building, and what architect Tony Crane calls his finest work, St. Boniface Church at 7th and Main. But then there's the Benya homes, which can be found throughout Quincy's Lincoln Hill subdivision. Benya used to live in this one, complete with this trademark brick wall around the exterior.
They were one story, usually on a slab, a lot of windows, a lot of light, a lot of overhang on the roofs to keep the sun from shining in those windows.
There's really no mistaking Benya's style.
He was more of a modernist style, very simplistic, a lot of glass, a lot of exposed brick.
It goes beyond Quincy. You'll find Benya's work in Mendon, Liberty, Canton, and Springfield. And it goes way beyond the tri-states. Records show he has buildings in all of these counties and all of these states. As he was once quoted in the Quincy Herald Whig, "All of my designs are original and I never do the same thing twice." In fact, one of Benya's most unique structures can be found just outside of Quincy. Now, the story of how he came up with it varies depending on whom you ask, but it centers around two simple objects, a napkin and a glass.
Apparently, as the story goes, they were at this bar one night talking about it, and John said, "Well, I've got the whole idea right now. I know what it is right now." And he took his glass and dumped the drink out, turned it upside down, and drew a set of like 7 circles and a grouping.
Those 7 circles became the Quincy Regional Airport. John Benya certainly is not the only architect who left their mark in the area, but what makes him special is his imagination, his creativity. Once you see it, you know, that's a Benya.
Well, he's pretty talented to be able to go plain or to do something now, you know, extraordinary.
I think he was almost an artist. You can't argue with the fact he produced some very, very magnificent architecture during his career.
Now, John Benya passed away in 1989 at the age of 77. Now, it's really a shame that we have time constraints here on TV because you just can't properly showcase his work in just a few minutes. Visit KHQA.com where you'll find a list of several other Benya buildings throughout the area. You might even find one in your community that you didn't know about.